February 26, 1991. A sandstorm is ripping across the Iraqi desert. Visibility, maybe a few hundred meters, if you're lucky. Through the dust, a line of American tanks rolls east, and suddenly, enemy armor. Lots of it. What follows is one of the most lopsided armored battles since World War II, and it happens in less time than it takes to watch half of a sitcom. Late February 1991, the ground war of the Gulf War has just begun. Coalition strategy is simple. Punch into southern Iraq, hook west, then swing east behind Iraqi defenses in Kuwait. Military planners call it the left hook. The unit leading part of that hook? The U.S. Army's 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment, a fast, aggressive reconnaissance force whose job is to find the enemy and survive long enough to report it. Instead, they're about to drive straight into an entire Iraqi armored division. Let's talk about the players. The American unit leading the charge is Eagle Troop, 2nd Squadron, 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment, commanded by Captain H.R. McMaster. Yes, that H.R. McMaster. Typical troop composition: 9 M1A1 Abrams tanks, 12 M3 Bradley scout vehicles, mortar section, support vehicles. Total strength, roughly 120 soldiers. But here's the important part: the Abrams tank. The M1A1 Abrams carries a 120mm smoothbore cannon. Effective engagement range in the desert, 2,500, 3,000 meters. Thermal sights allow crews to see through dust, smoke, and darkness, which, during a sandstorm, is a pretty unfair advantage. Waiting ahead is part of the Iraqi Tawakalna Division of the Republican Guard, elite troops by Iraqi standards. Their equipment includes T-72 tanks, T-62, BMP-1. Strength in the sector? Several battalions of armor and mechanized infantry, hundreds of vehicles across defensive berms and trenches. Their doctrine is defensive. Dig in, wait for coalition forces, engage at shorter range. But here's the problem. They expect the enemy to come from the south. The Americans are coming from the west. The battlefield is flat desert. No forests, no hills, just shallow ridges and sand berms, which means whoever sees first. And during this fight, American thermal optics can see through the sandstorm. Iraqi optics mostly cannot. Physics is about to get extremely one-sided. At about 4:40 p.m., Eagle Troop crosses phase line 70 easting. Visibility, maybe 400 meters. Scouts move ahead in Bradleys. Then suddenly, thermal signatures appear, dozens of them. Iraqi armored positions, right in front, at roughly 1,500 meters, which for the Abrams is basically point blank. Captain McMaster doesn't hesitate. He orders an immediate assault. No artillery prep, no waiting, just tanks rolling straight into the Iraqi defense line. Abrams gunners begin firing 120mm saber rounds, each projectile tungsten penetrator, muzzle velocity around 1,500 meters per second. At those speeds, armor becomes optional. Within minutes, Iraqi tanks start exploding across the desert. Bradleys launch Tau anti-tank missiles at longer ranges. American vehicles move in bounding overwatch, one element firing while another advances. Classic cavalry tactics: fast, aggressive, relentless. At one point, McMaster's lead platoon crests a ridge and finds itself staring directly at a battalion-sized Iraqi formation, dozens of armored vehicles, trenches, infantry fighting positions. For a second, the battlefield freezes. Then the Abrams fire. In less than 23 minutes, Eagle Troop smashes through the entire defensive sector, not by sneaking, not by maneuvering around it, but by driving straight through it. As American tanks push past 73 easting, Iraqi units begin collapsing. Command and control disintegrates. Some crews attempt to fight, others abandon vehicles and run. Coalition forces keep moving east,
deeper into the Republican Guard. When the dust settles, Iraqi losses include roughly 160-plus armored vehicles destroyed, dozens of bunkers and artillery positions. American losses? A handful of damaged vehicles. And, incredibly, no Eagle Troop soldiers killed in the engagement. For the soldiers inside those tanks, the fight is chaotic and surreal. Visibility is terrible. Rounds slam into armor. Radios scream with target calls. Crews reload, fire, move, reload again. Some Iraqi soldiers surrender immediately once American tanks roll past their trenches. Others are still stunned that the enemy appeared out of a sandstorm. War, at that moment, is loud, fast, and terrifyingly close.